This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love song. So that mama call me. Tengo sus noches y su pasión.
You're listening to the Emerald FlowShow on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to the 18th episode of the Emerald FlowShow. We're part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and you can follow us on Twitter at Emerald FlowShow. You can also follow us on all major podcasting apps, and if you use Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. You can also go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate and donate to the show if you are feeling generous. I'm Gerard here with Paul Vosh. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty fine. I'm on the second week of my vacation now, so I'm really kind of starting to calm down and just enjoy the summer, especially because we no longer have like 35 degrees every single day. We actually just have like mild upper 20s temperatures right now.
Yes, the heat wave is over here as well, and it's very nice to do. And I assume you've been watching a lot of wrestling then with all that time off.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's also, I live in a big city, so I actually also have to, like go and like hang out with friends and everything, the horror. But yeah, no, definitely, like aside from that, I do get a lot of time to just kind of sit down and like watch a lot of exciting wrestling, some of which we're going to talk about, some of which we're not going to talk about, but I think I'm definitely overall, I'm like relatively positive on wrestling at the moment.
Yes, definitely. I did enjoy, I think, most of the things that we're going to talk about today, and there's a lot to talk about. So we'll start off with some bad news. A couple of days ago, All Japan on their website said that referee Kohei Wada was in the hospital, or is in the hospital. The translation was not exactly the clearest with COVID, and I don't know his status, but I mean, to me, he's the greatest referee of all time, and I'm just wishing him get well soon.
Yes, absolutely. Especially at his age, and him kind of generally looking a bit frail as well. Like, I really hope that he pulls through. So just wishing him all the best.
Yeah, so there's been no updates since, I think, about 2 days now. So hopefully we'll hear something soon.
Yep.
So got some really cool or troubling information, I guess, depending on how you interpret it. And the credit to this goes out to pwanalysis.com. It's a blog in Japanese, but they posted just a attendance comparison that if you run through Google Translate is actually pretty clear that you can understand most of it. And basically it's tracking the numbers that the business promotions are doing from from 2019, from January to the beginning of August, and then comparing that to what promotions are doing from January to the beginning of August of 2022, and just some really interesting notes. First of all, over that sort of time period, soccer or football is 68% of what its attendance was in 2019. Baseball is 75, but pro wrestling is only 56%. Does that shock you that wrestling has the weakest recovery?
Not really. I think there's multiple factors that are responsible here. I think a major factor is the lack of cheering, because not only does that kind of hamper your enjoyment if you're watching it like just from home, I think it's even worse when you're actually in a crowd. Like for like anyone that's ever been to a wrestling show, like cheering is like one of the main things you want to do at a show. Like it just really gets you into the flow of everything, and just being allowed to clap, like it just isn't the same. So if I'm like someone that is in Japan and I'm thinking, so do I want to go to the show? Well, if I'm not allowed to cheer, like I might as well just watch from home. Like what's really the difference at that point? So I think that's definitely the first major factor. And the second major factor to me is also, well, yeah, look, so football and baseball have recovered better, but they also run the exact same amount of, like, the amount of events or games rather, that can happen, like, they're fixed, like, because they're determined by the number of teams in the league. Like, it's always the same amount of, like, matches that happen every year. Whereas for wrestling, it is kind of adjustable based on the schedule that the promotion is willing to run. So I think the other factor here is as well that like some promotions simply have significantly scaled back the number of shows. Because I think we should mention that this counts total attendance rather than average attendance.
Yes. And so, like, what you have here is you got New Japan. They're exactly at about 50% of what they were doing up to this point in 2019, which is sort of impressive in a lot of ways, although 2019 only had one Tokyo Dome show.
Yeah, I think that's a factor here as well, because they had 3 this year.
The big winner is Stardom. Their business is actually up 270 or 207%. So Rossi Ogawa, promoter of the year. Dragon Gate is at 55%. Noah is at 81%, which I think, Paul, you had to say it's because they're running more larger venues.
Yeah, I think because because 2019 it wasn't like the absolute nadir of Noah, but it was still not a great year for them. Like that was just before they got bought by Cyberfight, which really stabilized them. So I think really like being in a more stable financial position with Cyberfight that allows them to run more larger venues really has helped them out here. And it's kind of made up for the fact that they are also running like significantly less shows this year than they did in 2019.
Yeah, because when you get to All Japan, they're only at 36% of the attendance that they had in 2019 up to August. But they are running like half the number of shows, basically.
Yeah, less than that.
Yeah, some months. So that's a factor, and it's like, well, I guess it's financially, it's like, is it financially wise to like go into these smaller towns when you can only draw so many people at this point? And I think that's probably into the calculus of it all. DDT's at 42% of their business, and actually, although in total fans, All Japan has outdrawn them by 116 fans. But I think, well, they had some disappointing numbers like at Yokohama Budokan, and I think Takeshita leaving hasn't helped either.
No, like DDT kind of like, I mean, we're going to talk about obviously Peter Pan, which was a fun show, but I think overall DDT feels like a little bit cold at the moment. I think that's kind of reflected in this because for DDT, yes, they might also run less shows, but DDT was never a touring promotion. DDT was always a Tokyo promotion.
Yes.
So I think for them, like not really being able to travel or traveling less isn't really as much of a factor as maybe just Tokyo in general being a bit burned out right now.
Definitely. And then finally on the list, we have Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is up 110%, which I think can be attributed to the fact that so far this year, up to August, they've run about 7 Cork and Hall shows, whereas in 2019 they only ran 3. Isn't that what you found, Paul?
Yeah, I would say that's
or 3 all year, I should say.
Yeah. What I'm actually curious about is, because I'm curious about that for Noah and the rest of the Cyberfight promotions, is how did they count the attendance for the Cyberfight Festival?
And Wrestle Kingdom Night 3.
Wrestle Kingdom for Noah, exactly. Like those are the 2 for Noah that I'm looking at. How how did that get attributed to Noah? And then I think for Tokyo Joshi and DDT additionally is like, how did they count the cyber fight? Because that could definitely like make a difference as well. But they have also like significantly stepped up their Korakuen. Like they've run like 3 in the entirety of 2019, whereas they've already run Korakuen 7 times this year.
Yeah. So I think I mean, they're very interesting numbers, but I guess those sort of caveats about frequency of shows and venues sort of apply when looking at those numbers. But, I think it's not particularly surprising in some ways that you got around 50% of the business for Dragon Gate and Noah. And then I think everyone's clear that Stardom has made some big strides. Although I was somewhat surprised about Tokyo Joshi, but I guess it sort of makes sense when you think about it.
Now, obviously, if numbers stay like this when cheering is back, then I think that's a point when I think we need to start to get worried.
Definitely. And so we move on to All Japan Pro Wrestling. They had the semifinals and finals of the Royal Road Tournament on August 20th at Korakuen Hall that drew 820 fans. Not great, but not as bad as I thought it might be, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely up from what they've drawn for the rest of the tour, I guess. So yeah, it definitely feels like, we have seen just a noticeable like overall decline in attendance since they made that title switch to Suwama. Mm-hmm. So obviously this was like, he didn't really have like a major match on the show, but I think that still kind of has hurt them overall, because if, for example, just compare this to the number that they drew for the Champion Carnival final, like they drew a significantly better number there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's not a great number, like not a terrible number, but it definitely doesn't really make me like very positive on what they're going to draw at Budokan later. Oh, in like basically at this point in the month, pretty much exactly, right?
Yeah,
more or less.
We'll talk about that later, but I'm not particularly bullish on that.
Yeah.
So the show started off with Hikaru Sato, Dan Tamura, and Rocky Kawamura 2 subbing in for Takao Omori because he had to be moved elsewhere, defeating Black Mensaure Sushi and Andy Wu in 7 minutes and 45 seconds when Tamura pinned Sushi with a Death Valley Bomb. It was just a comedy opener, basically, but it was fine for what it was, and Dan got the win, which is always nice to see. And if you're into Rocky Kawamura 2's shtick, well, then this match was for you.
It's still one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. When I first saw him come out in the Rocky gimmick, I was like, does he eventually get to Rocky Kawamura 2? And what really is the difference between Rocky Kawamura 2 and Rocky Kawamura 3? Because obviously Rocky Kawamura 1 was like, it was just him from like First Blood, right? And then obviously now he's in the Rocky 2.
No, he was Rambo Kawamura.
Oh, Rambo. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so he was Rambo. He was like from like First Blood, like Rambo from First Blood 1, and now he's Rocky 2. Yeah, sorry, I think I'm getting the gimmicks confused now. Or whatever.
No, but didn't he like do some angle and hard hit where he died or something, or retired?
Probably.
And then he came
no,
back
he definitely
as
did
Rocky
retire.
Kawamura 2. Yeah. So I don't know, but he's a weird guy. So.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then so in the first Royal Road semifinal, Jake Lee defeated Takao Omori in 5 minutes and 46 seconds with the D4C. Sadly, I thought they should have just put Omori through to the finals, honestly. This is actually kind of awesome while it lasted. Because like Omori went in there, worked really hard for like 6 minutes almost, and then like went after Jake's leg, and Jake just sort of powered up and finished him off. But I don't know, I thought Omori looked really good here.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely should have put Omori through. Like, that would have been way more exciting than just, like, having yet another Kento Jake Lee match, especially so soon after they said, this is the final Kento versus Jake match, which obviously was never true, but, like, the fact that it literally, like, gets undone, like, a little more than a month later, it's a bit silly. Yes. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, as you said, like, it was a really fun, like, quick sprint, and, yeah. Omori looked really, really good here. And he was very clearly very motivated, being put into this position on short notice. And that actually led me to believe even more that he was going to win, and then Jake just got the win.
Well, I got a little nervous because he was like dominating the match for a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Is he just going to squash Jake?
Yeah.
No way.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that, but like, that just would have been such a fun. Well, they could have basically gone with the excuse that like Jake prepared for Naoya Nomura, and then all of a sudden he had to face Takuya Nomura. Then all of a sudden he had to face Omori, and he wasn't prepared for him, so he just got squashed. That actually would have been like a believable story.
Yeah, I guess we should say that Naoya Nomura got COVID, or at least had a fever, and so they pulled him from the show. And
no, he did actually test positive for COVID.
Oh, he did test positive. Yeah. Okay, so they pulled him from the show, unfortunately. But I mean, it could have been worse, I suppose, to screw up the tournament than that, which is unfortunate because we probably got robbed from some great matches. In the next semifinal, Kento Miyahara defeated Yuji Nagata in 10 minutes and 48 seconds with an inside cradle. Paul, I thought this match was actually pretty damn good up until the finish when they blew a Hurricane Rana from Kento because Nagata just can't roll over like that now, and they blew the cradle. Also looked really sloppy as hell. Yeah. And it just totally deflated the match. But I thought up until the end, it was like Nagata's best performance in the tournament, and Kento was selling for him and everything. So it was just sort of crushing that way.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but like the finish just made me really sad.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so clear that they had this finish planned, and I don't think that was something they came up with on the fly.
No.
So it was very clear that Nagata was like, yeah, I can do it. And it was just so obvious that like the mind was willing, but the body was not.
Yeah.
Like Nagata just like, he was just that half step off every single time during the entire finishing sequence. Like, I don't think it was even just the Hurricane Rana or the cradle. Like, there were like other times as well where like during the finishing sequence where I just felt that Nagata was just like a half step too slow, like every single time on everything they wanted to do there. And it just, it was just kind of sad to see. I mean, it was a good performance otherwise, but yeah, it's very clear that time has finally caught up with Yuji Nagata, and it's probably best if he's like kept to more like undercard stuff rather than like big singles matches at this point, as sad as that is.
Yeah.
But look, it happens to everyone eventually.
Yep. He's 54 now, I think. So, you know, he's getting up there. Yeah, because I looked up on Cage Match, and he had a match against Tomohiro Ishii in July 2021 that's rated 8.3.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, I remember that match. That match ruled.
Yeah. So this is a sort of, I guess a year makes a big difference when you get up to that age.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, maybe we talk about that for some other people, maybe in the Noah tournament later as well, where I think that might be happening to them as well. But yeah, no, it's very clear that like it took just 1 year and now he's just kind of toast basically. Like, I don't think he's awful.
No,
he definitely isn't. But I think one valuable skill for wrestlers at that age is like know your limitations, and I think Yuji Nagata for the first time in his career actually has to do that now, and depends if his pride is willing to like take that hit basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because like Nakanishi was doing like dives over the rope way far too long into his career.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, I mean with Nakanishi, even at the very end, there was like he was like awful most of the time, but there would like one time a year where he would just go nuts basically. Yeah. And Nagata basically has to be like, okay, do I just want to adapt and just have like a more careful style, or like know what my limitations are, or do I just want to kind of be bad for most of the year, but then have that one performance where I just pull out all of the stops?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he adapts going forward. Next up, Yoshitatsu, Tajiri, and Cyrus defeated Shuji Ishikawa, Ren Ayabe, and Ryo Inoue in 8 minutes and 58 seconds with a reverse splash or Vader bomb from Cyrus on Inoue. I wrote in my review on voiceofwrestling.com, this was shockingly good for what it was, right? You know, once again, Cyrus sort of plays his role perfectly, I thought.
Yep. It was also a really good way to give him his heat back after losing to Kento. Yep. I mean, it's really all you can say. Like, Cyrus looked good again, and it's very clear that the promotion is doing a lot of work to put him over.
Next up, the Voodoo Murders team of Taru, Kono, and Toshizo defeated, and they finally have a name, Paul, Gungnir of Anarchy. Is that how you pronounce that? I'm
I
not
would
up to
say
my
Gungnir.
in my Norse. Yeah, Gungnir.
I would say,
Yeah.
well, I don't think you pronounce the second N. I mean, my Old Norse isn't very good, but
Yes. So
it's
Gungnir.
It's Gungnir.
Gungnir.
Gungnir. Yeah.
Is
I mean, I can send you the IPA, but I don't know if you can read IPA.
that's Odin's spear or something, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a very typical Japanese. Let's take something from like old European mythology and then add a random word to it as well to make it sound even cooler.
So that team was Shitaro Shino, Ryuki Honda, Yusuke Kodama, and Seigo Tachibana. And Voodoo Murders beat them in 11 minutes and 18 seconds when Suwama pinned Tachibana. But, GOA, as you could also call them, they look sort of cool out there with all their shades on and everything.
Would you call them would you call the abbreviation GOA or would you call them Goa?
Oh, you call them Goa? Yeah.
I would call them Goa, yeah, but maybe that's just funny to me because it's also a state in India.
Yes. So, yeah, I thought they looked good. I guess they're going to get a push, right? Because they got merch. So.
Well, do they? Because they lost the first match after they got a name.
Yeah, that's true. But whatever. We'll see. Next up, had Yuma Aoyagi, Atsuki Aoyagi, and Hokuto Omori defeating Takuya Nomura, Rising Hayato, and Oji Shiba in 12 minutes and 26 seconds when Yuma made Shiba tap out to the end game. This was really good again. Like, how are you going to go wrong with these 6 guys?
Yeah, this was probably my favorite match on the show, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of the main event, so that probably played a factor. But I think, like, All Japan right now is really on this, well, the best thing probably right now in All Japan is, like, in a similar way to Noah, is, like, these kind of, like, semi-main 6-man tag matches, because they always deliver. Because at this point, they've built kind of, like, a little bit more of a roster where they can actually pull that off, where they just have, like, 6 good workers in there for these matches, and that's why they always deliver.
Yes, I agree. And much like Noah, the question is, are any of these guys doing all of this going to get pushed eventually?
Yeah, I mean to be fair, if you just look at it, who is the oldest person in this match actually? Like, I'm trying to look over, like,
how
who
old is
was in
Takuya
there.
Nomura?
Because it probably is Takuya Nomura, which would be insane. Like, to think that Takuya Nomura is the oldest person in, like, any match, really.
Yeah.
Takuya Nomura is 28. Yes, I think he's the oldest one, yeah.
He would be, yeah.
So, the fact that, like, the oldest man in the semi-main event of the tournament final show of your second... No, it's even not the third biggest tournament, but still, like, that, like, the semi-main event is, like, the oldest person in there is 28 years old. I think can only be a positive sign that they are actually willing to push younger guys. Like, I know I'm kind of down on the Budokan shows, but it also in a way feels like we just need to, like, get past it, and then the actual youth movement will start, hopefully.
Ideally. Well, we shall see.
Yeah.
Because they might panic if they see that Budokan number.
Yeah, I mean, well, they have the old guys on top. Like, blame them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In the Royal Road Tournament Finals, Kento Miyahara defeated Jake Lee in 22 minutes and 4 seconds with the shutdown German suplex hold. I actually quite like this match, although I will say the first 15 or so minutes was wrestled in your standard Kento versus Jake style, which is very good, but we've all seen it before a billion times. I did think, though, the last few minutes that they sort of turned up the viciousness on each other to a higher degree than they usually do, and I thought that sort of helped it at least stand out a little more. Certainly not the best Jake versus Kento match ever, and I think their match in June was better than this, but I thought under the circumstances they did pretty well.
To me, this was one of the weaker matches. It wasn't a bad match, but it was definitely hurt for me by the fact that the outcome was never in any doubt. Right? Like, did you ever think that Jake had, like, any chance of winning this match?
Zero.
Yeah. So, like, to me, I was just sitting there and basically be like, can we just kind of get this over with and just get to the Kento Miyahara kind of victory celebration afterwards. And also the fact that they had to go back to this well so quickly hurt it for me as well. So I was just like, I recognized that the work technically that was in front of me was good, but I just couldn't get invested in it in like any way or shape or form. Like,
See, that's sort of how I felt
shit.
about Kento versus Tsuji at that Champions Night show.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen it before, and the work is technically good, but it's not doing it for me or anything like that. And nor did I ever think that like Kento was going to lose or anything like that.
No. I mean, to be fair, I mean that can still work because obviously we're going to have that at Budokan again, but I don't think I'm going to have that same issue with that match. Let's put it that way.
Then after the match, Kento got on the mic, and Suwama came out, and now Kento's starting to do his own little dance to mock Nagata too.
Which again further points to the fact that he's probably turning heel.
You think so? Yeah. Okay, we'll see.
I mean, are they gonna run that? Like, are they gonna run like Nagata versus Kent? Like, because why would he still mock him after him winning a tournament if they're not running that back as a triple?
Well, I don't know if it was him specifically mocking Nagata in that context, but him doing that little dance started after, like, on the Shinkiba, I think it was the Shinkiba show where he came out and like after Nagata beat Ashino, and they had a mic duel, and then they had a dance off, and he just has continued to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it is very weird that he's building to another match while he still has like the biggest match. That's probably the biggest. Is it the biggest match of his career? I mean, it is the 50th anniversary in Budokan.
I guess.
Yeah. But it already feels like a bit of an afterthought.
You could argue the biggest match of his career was the first Suwama match in
exactly.
Sumo Hall.
That's what I'm thinking. That's like the only other one that I could think of.
6 years ago.
But again, that match didn't even happen because Suwama got injured.
No, but they had it later at Sumo Hall.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm thinking about the original one that they built when Suwama tore his
Yes.
Achilles.
Yeah. So we got some more announcement of matches for the Budokan, and let's go over them. So already announced we had the 50th anniversary special 6-man tag, Masanobu Fuchi, Atsushi Onita, Shiro Koshinaka versus Great Kojika, Yoshiaki Yatsu, and Masao Inoue. We've got
knock on wood, Wada's going to be able to referee
that match. Then Yoshitatsu Tajiri, Mitsuya Nagai, and of course the money mark himself, ATM, versus Izanagi, Black Mansuri, Sushi, and Andy Wu. How could he not be on this show?
No, he has to. He's probably financing a good portion of the show.
Yeah. And then what I think will be really cool is Rising Hayato and Ryo Inoue versus Yusuke Kodama and Oji Shiba. That should be a really good match.
Yeah, that should be a really fun
10 minutes at least.
Yeah, that should be a really fun junior tag match. I assume Hayato's getting the win on that one.
Yeah. And we have Yuma Anzai's opponent in his debut match. It's Yuji Nagata.
I mean, that's the perfect spot to put Nagata in.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's a huge vote of confidence in Anzai.
Yes, absolutely. Like, that's definitely, like, I think, you wrote that's the debut match that tells you, like, oh, we have plans for this guy.
Yes. And finally, another match that everyone has been waiting for months. Suji Ishikawa, Kohei Sato, and Ren Ayabe versus the returning Saito brothers, Jun and Rei, and they team with Cyrus. But Paul, the Saitos are already back in Japan, I believe. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a little suspicious that they've iced them for a month?
Yeah, and to me it's also suspicious that they didn't put them in the All Asia Tag Title match, which I think when they went away on excursion, everyone expected them to return in the All Asia Tag Title match, and we were still predicting that not that long ago because it just felt like such a logical thing. Because you have to do something with these guys immediately. They are 36 still, like 36, 37, right?
Yeah, 36.
Yeah.
Or so turning 36 later.
Yeah, you can't really wait with them. You need to do something with them now. So them really just kind of being in this random 6-man tag where, like, are they even going to get the pin here? Or is, like, because I'm looking at this lineup and to me, Cyrus is getting the pin here.
Yeah, probably pinning Ayabe. Paul, is it possible the Saito's are coming back as monster heels?
Could be. I mean, that would be something more interesting for them to do.
Do you think they will be carrying out the heel Kento on like some whatever you call those things that like Roman emperors were on?
Oh yeah. Oh, they could just carry him on their shoulders.
Yeah.
The way Bad Luck Fale did with Prince Devitt. So that would be really cool. But do you make that like? Do you give Kento 3 monsters? Do you give him the Saitos and Cyrus? That almost seems like a bit too much.
Yeah. The Miyahara Monster Army.
Yeah. That to be fair, that is actually kind of a cool idea. And I think the look of Kento just being surrounded by these gigantic guys actually would be kind of cool. So I hope that that's what this leads to. But I think there's also a chance that they just don't have any hope in the Saitos. Like, I think that's also a realistic possibility here.
I mean, I haven't seen anything from them in a couple of months, but I thought they looked perfectly acceptable in the first couple of matches as soon as they got to the States that I saw them in. But those were only 6 or 7 minute matches.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always kind of hard to like judge Japanese wrestlers based on the excursion.
Yeah.
Because the people that actually had like good excursions are very few. It's like 3 people.
It could also just be a fact of just saving them for the Budokan. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can learn a lot of what they think of the Saitos just from this match alone.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess you can't say one way or another that, oh, no, they're hiding them or anything like that for definitively yet. It's just interesting that they came back a month before. Special singles match, Hokuto Omori versus Minoru Suzuki. I don't know what to think of this. I mean, I think it would be good, but it's going to be like, I would assume if they're going to do this, that Omori gets in a good amount of offense in here at least. He doesn't get squashed.
I mean, I don't like that Omori is going to lose because he's very clearly going to lose. But I do think this really cements that he's moving up to heavyweight.
Yes.
To me. Like, so that's why I don't really mind that he is going to lose. It's not ideal to like job out one of your like up and coming stars on your biggest show to like an outsider. But at the same time, it is kind of his initiation into the heavyweight ranks. And the way Japan generally does that is like you need to eat shit for a while before you get pushed as a heavyweight if you've been a junior before.
I mean, I think it's fine if he loses and he gets a couple of near falls and looks competitive against Suzuki.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal case, yeah.
And then the other special singles match, Yuma Aoyagi versus the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. Is Yuma losing this?
Is Yuma moving though to junior heavyweight? No, definitely not. But that would be really stupid. But we said the same thing for the Kondo match, and then he just lost that one as well.
Yeah, but this just makes it's even worse.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get Kondo to come back to put Yuma over, but that's going to be a little harder than getting the win back from Daniels.
I mean, to me in this case, like, I don't know
but
why
Daniels
Christopher
is not
Daniels...
protected.
Exactly. Like, the only way I can see Yuma losing is if AEW doesn't want him to lose. But, like, it's not like he's even, like, on TV, right?
Well, let me put it this way. If you actually... Okay, the vast majority of AEW wrestlers, and I'm not talking about when they appear on, like, New Japan Strong, they win their matches on the indies. But the absolutely lowest ranked ones that are not being pushed will lose on the indies.
Okay.
So you would have to assume that Daniels might fall into that low, not pushed category.
Yeah, because I'm just looking over his like last results. So he lost on Strong. He lost against TMDK in a tag match. He lost on Defy. So like if he he was not he didn't get pinned, I assume, but then otherwise, let's see what I like his other like. He beat something. Wait, which Robert Anthony is this? Okay, I don't know what this is. So he beat Robert Anthony on something called Locoholics. Well, that's on AEW. He lost to Jay Lethal. And otherwise, I mean, he is not really he's really only working like Defy, New Japan Strong, and AEW. Like he isn't really working anything outside of those like really regularly.
I just think Yuma losing here is monumental.
It would be absolutely stupid. Yeah. Like
And you
if
give Daniels a win.
AEW tells you that their guy can't lose, then you don't book the match, or you book him against someone else.
Or you book Brock Anderson.
Yeah. Or you book like a tag match or something.
Yeah. Like you can give Daniels the win on the Cork and Hall show the next day against like someone like Yoshitatsu or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I really hope they don't do the stupid thing here and drop out Yuma Aoyagi on their biggest show.
And this ties into the excellent question asked by Therese last week, and the answer I gave. Is Daniel scouting Yuma here?
Maybe, but to me, it's still not really a sign that they have really like a proper relationship with AEW. If they do, then maybe that's what they're trying to do here. But until then, we haven't really seen AEW do it all that much, where they like go to Japan and like scout someone. And you can't really give them credit for like scouting Takeshita. Like,
no.
And then really, who else have they really like? Because in terms of like male wrestlers that they've brought in from Japan, like it's not a lot. Like it's not a lot that aren't like New Japan guys, basically.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm struggling to think who that even would be like outside of like DDT or New Japan, or like even male Japanese wrestlers that they have brought in. So it definitely would be kind of outside of their like normal pattern for them to do that.
But he could go back and be like, "Hey Tony, this Yuma guy, he's incredible."
Yeah, I mean Tony is a wrestling nut, but I don't think Tony is watching like 2022 All Japan.
Yeah, but I mean Daniels could say like, "Hey, this guy is great" or something. Give him a look. So
I mean, hopefully not.
Yeah. And then for the PWF World Junior Heavyweight Championship, Tiger Mask defends, as we were all expecting, thank God, Atsuki Aoyagi.
He defends, sorry. I understood it. You said he defeats. I'm like, what?
No, defends.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
What did you just say? Thank God he defeats Atsuki Aoyagi. No.
I'm kind of just curious what he can get at a Tiger Mask, really.
I mean, really all Tiger Mask has to do is just kind of like be there while Atsuki bumps around him.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he doesn't get in the way, I think the match will be pretty serviceable overall. So I think that's really the main thing. Like, I think it's gonna be a carry job by Atsuki Aoyagi just based on like the matches that Tiger Mask has had so far.
Yeah, hopefully Tiger Mask is a responsible veteran and puts over the young talent properly.
Yeah, and
I think he'll lose, but there's the Muto way, and then there's like the Yuji Nagata way, or something like that. Yeah. Or even like didn't win, but like on the Great Show today, I watched Kento Miyahara versus Tetsuya Izuchi, and like Kento obviously won, but he gave Izuchi a ton of offense and sold for him and everything. Like that's what you're supposed to do for the young guys.
Yeah, or like Satoshi Kojima did with Jack Morris, where he beat him and then he put him over after the match, and he put him over during the match, after the match, and then on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's like that's true professionalism.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there is definitely the fear that Tiger Mask just eats him up and then Atsuki bends him on like a roll-up or something. So I hope it's not that. I hope it's Atsuki just kind of, he gets to like bump for Tiger Mask, but he also gets to show off his flying and everything, and then beats him definitively at the end.
Yep. Then the main event. Suwama defends against Kento Miyahara. Again.
I mean, if there's any match they should bill as like the last Triple Crown match ever between two wrestlers, it's this one. I never want to see this match again after that.
They absolutely
ever
need to. I don't have much to say except, I mean, look, these guys have chemistry. They still have good matches. But the only thing, my biggest issue is that, like, how much cheating is going to be in this.
I mean, like we talked about this before, they have pulled
Yeah.
back significantly on that for Voodoo Murderers.
They even
title
did
matches.
pull back on that 6-man tag on Corkin. Like, that didn't have that much cheating, and it actually had a finish.
And look, it is the 50th anniversary of a promotion that in no way, shape, or form should have made it here.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple times where this promotion should have died for all intents and purposes. So they can't ruin that by having, like, a weird cheating match. Like, it just kind of needs to be, like, for the most part, just a straight-up Suwama versus Kento Miyahara singles match. And then Kento beats him in, like, 25 minutes definitively, puts him away forever, literally, like, suplexes Suwama out of the main event, and then we just go from there.
Paul, does Kento do a Tiger Driver in this match, and does Suwama do, like, a running neckbreaker drop?
I mean, in theory, you should fill this with, like, all kinds of callbacks to, like, All Japan greats. I mean, in that case, does Kento win with a burning hammer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I could see Kento winning with a different move, too, in this.
No, I do think he's beating him with the shutdown. Like, I don't really see this ending in, like, any other way. But I could see... I mean, maybe not in this match, but I could definitely maybe see, like, other matches having some, like, callback spots to, like, other people in the history of the promotion.
Yeah. And just some other notes I made after seeing these card. There's no World or All Asia tag title matches. Now, Omori says Omori challenged Ashino and Honda. He says he's going to bring a partner that is fitting to challenge for the World Tag Team titles. Is that Jun Akiyama he's talking about?
It is the most likely one to me. Like, because he is a tag team partner from Omori's past. He is definitely someone that is fit to challenge for the title, and it's the 50th anniversary of All Japan. So Jun Akiyama to me is the most logical choice. And really the only other person that would make sense to me is Manabu Soya.
Yep. Because Soya's hair's not long enough to be challenging for the World Tag Team titles as Get Wild, though, right now.
No.
I will say that.
No. But I mean, that also wasn't the case when they had that run in the Real World Tag
that's
League.
right. The reunion.
Yeah, exactly.
2017, 2018, what is it? Yeah.
Because like all of the other like Omori tag team partners are like retired or like literally paralyzed.
Yeah. Manabu Nakanishi can come out of retirement.
Takayama unfortunately cannot.
Paul, what are the chances it's Tenzan?
I think I brought that up as well, where it's like, well, Tenzan hasn't done anything since like July. It could be Tenzan as well, which definitely in terms of reputation would be someone that could challenge for
He's
World
a tag team
title.
specialist, both with Chung and Kojima.
Yeah, but that would also be very deflating, like, because it's not like what's really Tenzan's connection to like All Japan?
Well, Tenzan had a number of really great matches against Kawada in All Japan.
True, but it's not like
that's
I'm
about
thinking.
It. Oh,
when
and
I'm
he's
thinking
a real world tag team winner.
Yeah, but still, like that would definitely be like, it's like if I have to rank them, Akiyama's the clear number 1, Soya's the number 2, and then Tenzan would be number 3.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's just funny though. Because it's like, well, who's a guy that they could get off the bench in Japan and just stick in there?
No, that to me was like the first obvious one. It's like if they want to put someone else on there that can draw, it would be. But like for example, you would announce Tenzan, right?
Presumably, yes.
But then again, you would announce Akiyama as well, I guess, if you want to sell tickets.
I would assume the Akiyama announcement's coming soon.
True. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Like we'll see when the announcement comes who it is, but. To me, Akiyama, like, if I have to put, like, numbers on them, I would probably put it, like, Akiyama, 85%, Tenzan, like, 10, and then 5% Manabu Soya.
Oh, you think Soya is the least likely?
He's least, like, I would like to see him more, but I think he's also the least likely one because he's the least drawing person, basically.
That's true. And Paul, who do you think is conspicuous before I get to that, All Asia tag titles. On September 10th in Great, Toshizo and Minoru Tanaka are defending against Soma Watanabe and Yu Iizuka. I assume Voodoo Murders retain. However, Minoru Tanaka did beat Yu Iizuka on today's Great show, so I don't know, but it's great, and they'll just job people out all the time. So maybe you can't read into what that means. So I'm assuming that Voodoo Murders will retain, and I'm assuming that'll be Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura, because they do not have matches yet, will be challenging them.
Yeah, that just makes the most sense, because it also would be weird that you have these two people from an outside promotion win the titles and then lose them right away again on the Budokan. I mean, it is the All Asia title, so who cares? But still.
Right, but I think my feeling isn't really they need to do this, or they're so stupid. Like, you just beat Voodoo Murders all at once and disband them.
Yeah. You just kick them out of the promotion again and just have that be over. Like, they basically need to, I would assume that there's going to be some sort of angle on the Korakuen after Budokan.
For sure. And, this is what I was going to get to. Paul, who's conspicuous by their absence on this show?
Oh, Koji Doi.
Well, Kuma Rashi and Koji Doi are returning on September 19th at Korakuen Hall, finally. Because probably other wrestlers are about to be cycled out that are currently in the company, which I think sort of adds to my theory that Voodoo Murders is not long for this world.
Yes, it seems like they freed up some budget again to book those two guys.
Yeah. And they got Real World Tag League coming up. Naoya Nomura.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe they also... Yeah, the thing for me is as well, I hope he's still going to get booked in a promotion. Like, we don't know if maybe this whole Royal Road tournament was just going to be it.
Well, yeah, but do you really put him over Yuma and I assume Jake?
And then just have him leave?
Kento, and then have him leave?
That would be very weird, yeah. But there's also, no one really, on the card that he can face.
I have the only sort of semi-regular left that they haven't booked is Seigo Tachibana.
Yeah, but, that's... I mean, I like Seigo Tachibana, but...
Yeah, no, but it doesn't mean anything.
No, exactly. Who cares? So really, I don't really know if there's a spot for him. Here's the thing, though. You also don't necessarily need to book him on the Budokan. For me, it's probably more important that he maybe, turns up on the Korakuen afterwards. That means that he's still, a part of the promotion going forward.
To shoot an angle sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, that is maybe more important than, just forcing him onto the show in a random match.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just take one quick victory lap before we move on to All Japan. I successfully predicted every Royal Road tournament match except for Omori beating Honda. And, of course, I did not see the Nomura COVID coming, but I did still get the winner. So that's probably one of the best tournament predictions I've ever done, all things considered, I got to say. But it was pretty obvious, I thought.
No, yeah, the moment Taro beat Kento, oh god. The moment Kento beat Taro, it became really obvious how this was going to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, some people were still absolutely convinced that Nagata versus Suwama was the Budokan main event. After that point, it was definitely people that were not paying that close attention and just heard that there was a New Japan guy in All Japan and assumed that was what was going to happen.
Let's just say, dear listeners, if Nagata had won this tournament, you would have heard a very different intro to the show.
Yes, exactly. So any more thoughts on All Japan?
I'm a little down on the Budokan. I think I'm going to enjoy the show overall.
Yeah.
But I'm not super excited about the card as it is right now. But I think probably, when I actually watch it, I'm probably still going to enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I think the show will be good. I'm just not... They're 2,500 people. Might be what they get here.
Yeah. Let's see.
At this point, just to save face and get 3,000 to be on par with Noah would be, I think, the absolute best case scenario at this point.
Yeah. If you can at least get close to what Noah did, I think, then you're doing fine. But that's not a really great number for your 50th anniversary.
No, it's not. So we move on to Pro Wrestling Noah, to night 4 of the N1 Victory tour in Sendai Sun Plaza with 505 fans. I don't know. Didn't someone really draw like a much better than that in Sendai recently? So I don't know how good that number is. I'd have to look at what some other Sendai shows are doing. But whatever.
Yeah. Let me just take a quick look at that one. Sendai Sun Plaza. I think Dragon Gate. It was New Japan. So New Japan drew 936, and Noah's the only other promotion. But it is actually down from what they drew in January for Bumper Crop. Because for Bumper Crop they drew 633. So it is significantly down from that.
Interesting.
And that one had Nakajima versus Kitamiya title match.
Yep. Oh, okay, yeah. So for the first match of the show in the Block B, Jack Morris defeated Kinya Okada in 11 minutes and 6 seconds with the Tiger Driver. I thought it was good, but not great. I actually kind of expected a little more from this match, but it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, but in a way, it's actually a good sign that we expected more from a Jack Morris versus Kinya Okada match than we got.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but decent match overall. Not really a lot to sink a teeth in though, and yeah, I don't think really we're gonna remember this match, and because I'm already struggling to really remember anything about this match.
Yeah. I still remember the good stuff sticks out still, but but there's a lot there's a lot of perfectly good wrestling that just doesn't stick with you a long time in this tournament. Next in Block A, Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated Masaki Mochizuki in 13 minutes and 18 seconds with a Hurricane Rana cutback. It was fine. Again, another 3.25, 3.5 maybe at best match. I just had in my notes though, poor Mochizuki, because at this point he still hadn't had a victory.
He's really getting dropped out here so far in this tournament.
Yeah.
This was actually one where I kind of expected him to get a win, but it really seems like they're building kind of a storyline with him just getting dropped out mercilessly. I think maybe this might also be where maybe he's cutting back on his nowadays after this, just based how they're just beating him like a drum, while he is a champion in Dragon Gate. I feel like I need to reiterate that.
He's a Triangle Gate.
He's a Triangle Gate champion in Dragon Gate, and he hasn't won a single match so far.
Okay.
So I feel like they're just he's just gonna want to be in Dragon Gate more to team with his son. So I think Noah's just
probably makes the most sense.
Yeah,
right? Now that his son's debut, he sort of takes up all of his time and attention.
Yeah. So it just makes sense that he's just putting over as many people as he can on his way out.
And in Block B action, we had Satoshi Kojima defeating Masa Kitamiya in 12 minutes and 36 seconds with the Western Lariat. This is pretty good, I thought. Hard-hitting action. And Kitamiya, I think, has been really good all tournament. And then, Kojima just finishes him off with the Western Lariat.
Yeah, I think this has been Kitamiya's best tournament ever so far. Because to me, he's been up and down every single time he's been in the Global League or in the N1. But he has consistently delivered in every single match so far. And he's been really awesome. And Kojima as well has also had a great tournament. I mean, talking about a guy that is older, that is definitely has not fallen off yet. Kojima is very clearly showing that he can still go.
Yeah. No, Kojima's been great and Kitamiya's been great. And then we move on to Kazuki Fujita defeated Hideki Suzuki in 19 minutes and 5 seconds with the Dujime sleeper hold. You know what? I have in my notes, it's not for everyone, but I thought overall it was slow at the beginning, but I thought it's still pretty good by the end. I wouldn't go rush out and say drop everything and watch this or anything like that, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
No, I saw a lot of people basically be like, this is the most boring match they've ever seen, and I definitely don't think it was that. It definitely was slow in the beginning, but both of these guys can go on the mat, and they definitely showed that here. And they definitely managed to kind of make the finish exciting. And I think it helped as well that Suzuki is very clearly one of the people that Fujita respects. So yes. Fujita didn't eat him up. If this was just 19 minutes of Fujita eating up Suzuki, then I agree, that would have been really boring. But it wasn't that. It was much more of a back and forth match on the mat as well. So I think that really helped it as well. And as you said, the finish was actually pretty good. And not really, again, not a tremendous match, nothing that will make my like match of the year list at the end, but it was perfectly serviceable.
And then next up, Block B action. Katsuhiko Nakajima defeated Takashi Sugiura in 16 minutes and 35 seconds with the vertical spike. Sugiura, legend in No has had sort of a ho-hum, low-profile tournament, but I thought this was probably his best match so far. I thought this was really good, and they sort of really laying into each other, and sort of like Nakajima sort of basically almost like doing like a deadlift vertical spike at the end, sort of added to the feel of a struggle.
Yeah, this was still Segura's best match, but I still think it wasn't that good, because Segura to me is the other guy after Nagata where I'm like, okay, I think this might finally be the year where his age catches up with him. Because just for this whole tournament, I'm like, he's been up and down.
I thought this was Segura's best match, but I can see where you're coming from given some of his performances earlier on, right? Now he's at the point where it's like, unless he actually does turn it up, he's going to look a little, Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
slower.
Compared to him versus Nagata, because for Nagata, it's very clear, his body can't hold up anymore. I think for Segura, it might be a bit more of a motivational issue right now.
Yeah.
Because it seems like some of those matches, he just is kind of sleepwalking through them almost.
Well, I mean, you would have thought he would have worked a little harder in that Kojima match, but...
yeah, he didn't at all. Like it's very weird. But yeah, this was definitely one of his better matches. But I'm also giving Nakajima a lot of credit here too.
Of course, yeah. And in the main event in A block, Keno defeated Go Shiozaki in 20 minutes with the PFS. This is great. Like, these two just laying into each other. I will say, though, do you think it makes Go look geeky because they use the sleeper to set up for the PFS? I know how I feel about that.
No, I think that's fine. Because, again, like, in a way, it can actually help enhance it as well, where you had to, like, choke him out to actually get him to stay down, basically. Mm-hmm. So I think that can help. That kind of, in a way, can help the match. Like, I wasn't quite as high as you probably on this match. I thought this was really, really good, but, like, I don't think this was, like, a great match. Definitely one of the better ones in the tournament so far.
Yeah.
But, no, I don't really mind the finish.
Okay. And then, so we move on to August 19th at the Korakuen Hall. That's 584 fans. That's about in the range that they've been drawing there as of late.
Yeah.
We've already analyzed Noah Korakuen numbers to death, so they are what they are at this point. So
I mean, maybe just one thing, because I think it's a point we've talked about before, but just reiterating it from what we talked about earlier with overall attendance numbers, like, because those numbers are what they are right now, they should just allow people to cheer. Because you're not selling more tickets than this anyway. Just allow people to cheer and jack up the prices a little bit, and then you can actually make a little bit more money. Because you're not bringing in more fans, right? Like, very clearly right now, regardless of what you do, you're not bringing in more people.
And I would assume if you can probably get like 700-800 maybe allowed to cheer.
Yeah, so you could in theory actually like sell more tickets,
Yeah. With the cheering, because that's one factor. I mean, there's other factors like the pandemic, of course, but clearly cheering is a factor in all of this. So in A block, we had Kazuyuki Fujita defeating Anthony Green in 4 minutes and 59 seconds with a power bomb. Certainly a match that no one expected to see when on January 1st, 2022. I'll give it credit. Like, I thought Green worked hard here, and it was a nice little match. Obviously, like, Fujita dominated and everything, but it was perfectly fine.
I mean, this was exactly what I expected it to be, with, as I said, Fujita just dominating the match. I mean, I guess Green sold really well for him, but this was exactly what I expected it to be. Yeah.
Next up, Block B. Katsuhiko Nakajima defeated Jack Morris in 13 minutes and 41 seconds with a is listed as a Tiger Driver cutback cradle, but it was sort of like a Hurricane Rana. This rule.
That's awesome. This was so good.
Yeah. Would you say that Jack Morris is Sublime every time?
He's been so far. Yeah, he's been Sublime every single time. So he has a hit rate of 100%, which is impressive.
Yeah. Just great. Like, my only critique of Jack Morris is sometimes his facial expressions are a bit much.
But again, this is literally like his, this is
Yeah.
his 5th match in Japan ever.
Yeah, but that's all I got. Right?
Yeah, exactly. If that's your complaint, like that's a very yeah, it is his 5th match, yeah, because it's 6-4, yeah. So no, that's just like he's very clearly someone that's watched a lot of Noah tapes before coming to Noah.
Yeah, definitely.
Just given how naturally he's fitting in, and I think Nakajima was awesome in this as well. I think Nakajima figured out really quick that like he's like a guy that I can like do my shit with. Because I think sometimes with Nakajima he has a bit of a hesitancy when he wrestles foreigners, where he isn't quite sure if he can lay it in as much as he can with like the Japanese people. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, like he just immediately just was like, oh, I'm just gonna kick this guy's head in. And I think that really helped. Like the speed was awesome. Like to me so far this was the best match of the entire tournament. Like I actually went 4 stars.
Oh really? Okay, I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's up there for sure.
Like to me this was the best match of the tournament. This was really fucking awesome. I love this match.
Yeah, they need to sign Jack Morris. I think. Yeah. Keep him away from NXT Europe.
Yeah, I think actually for now you have a little bit of a time frame where you can sign him, because I have a feeling that NXT Europe we're not really going to see all that much happening with that anytime soon. And again, if Jack Morris is smart, he's not signing with that. Do what all of the other smart British wrestlers do and just stay in Japan.
Exactly. And then after that, we had in A block, Masaki Mochizuki defeated Masato Tanaka in 13 minutes and 43 seconds. So Mochizuki with a high kick, and Mochizuki finally gets on the board with 2 points. This is pretty good, and like as you can expect from these two, like back and forth, hard hitting action. I also think Mochizuki and Tanaka, all things considered, have been like, I'm not going to say that either of them are MVP, but they have been solid contributors to this tournament.
I mean, I would say to me, well, actually no, Mochizuki might no longer be my MVP of the tournament so far, but I thought he's definitely one of the best ones in the tournament so far. Tanaka, I think I've talked about before, I've had my issues with him kind of so far in this tournament, but this was really, really good. This was Masato Tanaka's best match in the entire tournament, just both men just going at each other really hard, just really nice, like hard-hitting action throughout the entire match. And I think what helped as well is that this really played to Tanaka's strengths, where it was just a brawling match basically, which is what Tanaka's best at. So, and well, to be fair, what I will say is it was Tanaka's best match up until this point, because it was actually a match that he had later that was even better than this one.
Yes, I agree. So yeah. And then after that, we had Takashi Sugiura defeated in Block B. He defeated Masa Kitamiya in 10 minutes and 26 seconds with the front neck lock. I thought this was pretty good. It was hard hitting. It was only 10 minutes, so I thought Sugiura obviously looked a little more motivated here. I also love the finish because Kitamiya had Sugiura in the prison lock, but then like Sugiura managed to like turn that into the front neck lock and got the referee stoppage. Yeah,
I really loved the finish of this. The rest of the match to me was just okay, but I thought the finish was absolutely awesome because it was also a direct callback to when Kitamiya won the tag titles. Because he in that match, he like same as here, he had Sugiura in the prison lock, and kind of Sugiura was like moving up to like elbow him, and when he won the tag titles, he just headbutted Sugiura in the head and just knocked him out while blood was running down his face in one of the best kind of visuals that I've seen in like quite a while in wrestling. And it kind of like directly called back to this one where Kitamiya was rearing up for the headbutt again, but Sugiura caught him and put him in the neck lock for the victory. So I thought that was really awesome. Like that finish was really elevated this match on to be like a really good match, because the rest of the match was just okay, but like with that finish, like it turned to be into a really good match instead.
Next up in Block A, Keno went to a 30-minute draw with Hideki Suzuki. I think overall, I mean, I know that this isn't going to be for everyone, but I thought that they started off real strong, try to tease you in with like Keno getting like the PFS on Suzuki in like the first 2 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Suzuki, uses his ring awareness and rolls out of the ring. But then it turned into a sort of thing where Suzuki dominated this match quite a bit, actually. But the last few minutes are really great, though, because both guys are scrambling to sort of try to put each other away, but couldn't. So I would definitely say this was one of the... I'd probably put it in the top 10 of the best matches of the tournament, but I can see it not being for everyone. And you can sort of critique maybe the way that Suzuki sort of dominated most of this match.
No, I think this match was really good as well. Yeah, Suzuki dominated for the most part, but I think really the important part here is while it was a time limit draw, the time limit draw happened when Keno had Suzuki in the sleeper hold. Like, it wasn't a case that like, oh, these two were still like equal. It's like you really got the feeling that if this just went like 10, 12, like 30 seconds longer, Keno would have won. Because he, like, either Suzuki would have tapped or Suzuki would have just passed out and Keno would have gotten the win. So I'm fine with Suzuki dominating the early part of the match if the thing you're going to remember about at the end of the match is that Keno just like ran out of time in the end, but he would have won if this had just been like a slightly longer match.
Okay, and then in the main event in B block, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Masakatsu Funaki in 13 minutes and 49 seconds with a modified Shining Wizard. It was okay, but then it was just a weird finish where like Kaito spammed a couple of Shining Wizards and then did a Shining Wizard to the back of the head and sort of won, and I don't think anyone was expecting that to be the finish.
Yeah, wasn't a super big fan of this match. As I said, it was just kind of okay. Also wasn't really a big fan of this Shining Wizard spam, and also kind of felt at times that like Funaki was like, no, do it again. Like that just, like to me, that's just a bad look. Like I'm generally not someone that harps on like Kaito being made look like a geek, but he kind of was like a little bit in the finish of this match. Like,
once again, not being put over properly by the old guys.
Yeah. It definitely, like, it's like, I'm also, and as I said, like, it was like him just spamming the Shining Wizard was a little bit much as well. Like, if he just uses it, that's fine, but if he's just, like, literally, like, overusing it, like Muto was, like, 5 years ago, because it's the only thing he could do anymore, like, Kaito doesn't need to do that. He's fucking 24 years old, or 26 or whatever he is.
26.
Yeah, he's 26 years old. Like, can do like all kinds of cool shit. Like, he doesn't need to do the move that the guy could only ever do because he doesn't have knees anymore. Like, if he has to take a goddamn Muto move, then I don't know, like do the moonsault or whatever. Although then again, maybe don't do the moonsault given what happened.
Don't do the moonsault. It's not worth it.
Maybe don't. But I mean, you can still use the Shining Wizards, but you don't need to spam it. Right?
Yeah. So we move on to night 6, and that was on August 20th at Korakuen Hall in front of 609 fans, so a bit of an improvement. In Block B action, we had Kaito Kiyomiya defeating Kinya Okada in 9 minutes and 59 seconds with a reverse cradle. I thought this was pretty good. Interesting story here, though, where they had like Okada seemingly dominate all of the match, and then Kiyomiya got the win by sort of rolling him up at the end.
Yeah, I think that was also a Kaito call as well to actually give Okada a lot, because Kaito is kind of one of the trainers as well, right? Well, I think he's at least helping.
Yeah, he's helping. It's Ogawa.
Yeah, so I think he like helped train Okada to some degree as well. And I think he kind of did something similar as well when he had like the match with Kai Fujimura before he went away on excursion. So yeah, I thought Kaito was just really willing to like give Okada the chance to show off, because he hasn't really gotten that throughout the entire tournament and probably isn't going to get that opportunity for the rest of the tournament. So I thought it was really good by Kaito. And then still getting the win in the end. So yeah, I think overall, like we said, like I think this stuff like this really helps the promotion get a bit more behind Kinya Okada and actually give him more stuff to do, because he definitely showed that he can hang even if he's on offense.
Yeah, and I thought the finish sort of invoked the way that Okada got in the tournament with the roll-up.
Yeah, Just kind of like in reverse in this case, yeah.
Yep. So next up, we had technically a master and student match. Hideki Suzuki defeated Anthony Green in 9 minutes. And I saw like Green on Twitter and everything was playing this up. He's like, oh, he's my trainer in the performance center and everything like that. What do I have here in my notes? I thought, this is pretty good. I mean, it was pretty straightforward, simple. I thought Green looked good, of course, but Hideki got the win in the end. And then afterwards, like Hideki goes over to him and has a bunch of words for them and they shake hands and everything like that.
Yeah, not really that much more to say about this match. It definitely felt like Hideki has a bit more respect for Green as well because he probably has worked with him in WWE.
Yeah, because you wouldn't think Anthony Green is a guy that Hideki Suzuki has much respect for.
No, yeah, because I really thought this was going to be more like the Fujita match, but it was like he did give Green like a little bit at least.
Yeah. And then next up in Block B, Takashi Sugiura defeated Jack Morris in 16 minutes and 33 seconds with an avalanche-style Olympic slam. Definitely in the better Sugiura matches in this tournament so far, and a great finish, of course, with an avalanche-style Olympic slam. Paul, you know what I have written in my notes here about this match? It came to me in a revelation as I was watching this. Jack Morris is what Adam Cole actually thinks that he is. Would you agree with that?
I guess so, because they do have kind of similar looks, but Morris is obviously like bigger and more jacked than Adam Cole ever was,
and just more athletic, right?
And he's more athletic. Yeah, he can actually do the stuff that Adam Cole thinks he can do, but can't quite pull off smoothly. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. No, I can definitely see where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean now for that comparison to maybe work even more, now I need to see Jack Morris in kind of a plunder match. Because Cole is always really good at those. So if he's really good at like plunder matches, then yes, he absolutely is just better Adam Cole.
But what do you think of the match overall?
Yeah, I think the match overall was solid. It was definitely one of the better Sugiura performances. I think Jack Morris also sold really well for Sugiura here as well. I think that maybe is like really good, like part of his game as well, is that he's like a really good seller. I think that really helps him fit in as well. And Sugiura looked a little bit more motivated here. So, yeah, I think it was a good match overall.
And then we go to, Block A with Go Shiozaki defeating Hio Dr. Wagner Jr. in 15 minutes, 15 seconds with a strong arm lariat. Pretty good. I mean, all things considered, I think Wagner is really carrying himself well for the most part. Not like super high-end or anything, but a perfectly competent, like, mid-carder.
Yeah, but I have to say, like, his matches also have a tendency to be a bit forgettable. Because I'm actually because I'm trying to recall stuff I remember from this match, and there isn't really a whole lot.
Too.
Like, I do remember the finish.
Either. I'm like, good match.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember the finish, but really struggling to think of anything else that really happened in this match or that I found notable from it.
Mm-hmm. But, I think Wagner's got a spot there for a while in the company if he wants it.
No, definitely. Like, he's definitely not, like, sticking out like a sore thumb. Like, he definitely fits, but he's also not someone that I would ever, like, push in any meaningful way.
Right. Yeah, tag titles, this is good.
Yeah, exactly. Like the occasional tag title run is fine, but then anything. Like, I wouldn't even really, like, maybe I would give him, like, one national title match at some point.
I would give him. He could be a national title challenger, I think.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't give him the title. Like, I would give him a match for the belt, but that's about it.
And then in Block B action, Satoshi Kojima defeated Masakatsu Funaki, all of a sudden doing all of these jobs in 10 minutes and 11 seconds with the Western Lariat. I guess it wasn't bad. I mean, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Like, is Funaki going to work against Kojima? But they've obviously worked together before back, like, over a decade ago in All Japan. And, I thought it was the last, like, it was perfectly acceptable, not bad for the most part. The last few minutes were pretty good. And then, like, Kojima getting the win.
Maybe, okay, and this is a really weird nitpicky part. I didn't like that they did 2 lariat finishes back to back.
Okay, yes, I see what you mean.
But
these are 2 masters of the lariat, Paul.
They are, but still, like, both of them have other finishes as well. Like, I know it's incredibly nitpicky and it doesn't matter, but it really bothered me that it was 2 lariat finishes back to back. But the match itself was fine. Like, it definitely was one of Funaki's better matches in the tournament, I will say that much.
Still not as bad as All Japan doing all of these roll-ups in the Champion Carnival, if you ask me.
Oh, God. Let's never talk about that tournament ever again. Nearly broke me. Oh no, wait, sorry, that was this year.
Yeah.
But like what I was thinking about is the Champion Carnival in 2020.
Oh no, that's the worst champion. Well,
it's because there were a lot of roll-ups in that match in that tournament as well.
Oh yeah, because it was so small. Because everyone had to do jobs.
Yeah, and every match was 8 minutes.
Yeah. And
every match was 8 minutes and ended in a roll-up, and it nearly broke me.
And in the main event, Masato Tanaka in the A block defeated Kazuyuki Fujita in 20 minutes and 56 seconds with the sliding D. Paul, this was to me the best match that these two have had against each other out of all of their matches. Because it didn't. Well, they had that 30-minute draw, right, which was too long. But obviously, 20 minutes is a long time for a Fujita match, and even a Tanaka match if he's not in there against the right opponent. But somehow they delivered. I have in my notes, Tanaka's doing a lot of mat work in this tournament.
Yeah. Which that's one of my reasons why I think he's a bit hit or miss, because he's doing a bit too much like mat work. But in this case, like in this match, it actually worked.
Yeah, it was nothing special, but it wasn't bad either. But then they started just throwing bombs at each other, and then it was awesome.
Yeah.
I have, in all caps, choke slam. That choke slam for Fujita was awesome. And then this last few minutes were awesome. And then, Tanaka finishes Fujita off after several sliding Ds, really, to sort of like wear the monster down. So, this was great. If you're not...
Like when they started throwing headbutts at each other.
Oh, yes, that's
nasty.
right, yes. If you're not a Fujita fan, you should still check this out, because it's like exactly what Masato Tanaka versus Kazuyuki Fujita should be.
Yes. No, this was really awesome. This was also one of the best matches in the tournament
I agree,
for me.
For sure. Just like
I was really happy. I was really positively surprised by this match.
In part, like, I don't want to call it a spot fest, but it's like a quasi spot fest. It's because it's just like sick moves.
See where you're coming from with it,
But it rocked. Like, I'm not anti-spot fest guy or anything like that.
No, and like it was just like dudes being dudes, just going out there and just beating the shit out of each other, like in the best way possible.
There's no real psychology, because people would have both died of like hematoma or whatever. They tried this.
No, it's also both of that's also not really both of those guys' strengths as well.
Absolutely not.
Like they're not really like. I don't think anyone will disagree if I say that Kazuyuki Fujita is not exactly the most cerebral wrestler.
No.
Unless you count headbutting people as cerebral. So, no. But that was exactly, like, it was just dumb. Like, it was kind of like it had, like, this element of, like, dumb jock wrestling.
For sure. Absolutely.
The VOW term, it's, like, just, like, two dumb... Like, that's basically what Masato Tanaka and Fujita are. Like, they're just two dumb jocks just going out there and just, like, beating the shit out of each other and, like, doing stuff that they shouldn't do. They shouldn't have done, like, 20 years ago. They definitely shouldn't do now, but they're gonna do it anyway because fuck you.
Yeah.
No, this was awesome. This was really awesome. Like, this was definitely, I think, easy top 5 of the tournament so far, and I think it might make my top 3 so far as well.
And then, so the tournament doesn't pick up again until August 27th, and we're sort of in the home stretch. There's 3 shows left?
2 shows.
There's only one more block night?
There is...
Or 2 more...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, 3 shows with the final. Yeah, sorry. There's 2 more block nights, yes.
Yeah.
So we have the 27th in Nagoya and the 28th in Kawasaki.
And then on the 3rd in Osaka at Edion Arena, number 1.
Yes.
Yeah. So the block A standings are Keno with 7, Hideki Suzuki 7, Masato Tanaka 6, Go Shiozaki 6, Kazuyuki Fujita 6, Hyodo Dr. Wagner Jr. 4, Anthony Green 2, Masaki Mochizuki 2. Block B, Satoshi Kojima 8, Takashi Sugera 8, Katsuhiko Nakajima 6, Kaito Kiyomiya 6, Masakatsu Funaki 4, Masa Kitamiya 4, Jack Morris 4, and Kinya Okada still with the goose egg of 0. Are you still confident in your predictions, Paul?
Yes-ish. I do still think Go Shiozaki is winning.
Yep.
But just the way this tournament has been going and like what matches are left, I think there's also a chance Fujita is winning as well.
Yep.
Because I'm just not sure. Because Fujita at this point he has Mochizuki and Keno left.
Yep.
So obviously he has to lose to at least one of them. Like if Go wins out, then it doesn't really.
I think
like,
Mochizuki could beat. If Mochizuki
so too.
beats Fujita and then Fujita beats Keno, that should allow Shiozaki to sneak in there.
Yeah, but then Suzuki also needs to lose in there somewhere. Like he needs to lose to like Dr. Wagner, I guess.
Well, if Fujita put over Wagner, Suzuki can.
Yeah, because Go Shiozaki versus Hideki Suzuki is on the final night.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, because, for example, like Keno also needs to, like, because Keno fails Fujita is on the final night as well, and I expect Fujita to win that one to set up a title match, like, later in the year. And I guess that he could lose to Green.
Sure.
Yeah, and then the math kind of works out where then Go Shiozaki goes through in the end.
Now, over in B block, I originally predicted they're going to do Go versus Kojima again, but I think Kaito's now. It just has a feel Kaito's going to the finals. To me.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely doing this kind of comeback story with Kaito. I do still feel really confident in saying that, like, the block is definitely coming down to Kojima versus Kaito.
Yes.
I think that just seems very obvious. Yeah, I would still say they're going to do Kojima versus Go. Because to me, if Kaito is making the finals, he kind of has to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you can run Keno versus Kaito in Ariake. Especially if that has cheering.
I think you should run it in Budokan, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm thinking as well. That's why I'm not like, if Kaito makes a final, then like they have to do that match there. Whereas I think they should do it in Budokan. Like they should save it a little bit more. Because you can just have Go versus Keno in Ariake, and then do Fujita versus Keno somewhere else, and then I don't know, maybe one more title defense or not, and then just do Budokan, do Kaito versus Keno at the Budokan in January.
Yeah. Who does Nakajima have on the final night?
He has Kenya.
Huh. Because I was thinking, like, Nakajima, I don't think you can discount him getting to the finals at least, doing Go Nakajima again. But it just feels like, you think Kenya gets that upset? And
if Kaito is still in the mix, if Nakajima is still in the mix, I do expect Kenya to get the upset there, to eliminate him, so that he gets at least something, and then that way you can get like Nakajima out. But then again, I mean, we talked about it before, like Nakajima is on this insane streak of like Noah tournament finals.
Yeah.
Like he's been in there and like across both global leagues and once he's been in the final for 5 years straight, for 5 tournaments straight.
So,
which is nuts.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see them.
But putting him against Okada on the final night is pretty anticlimactic if he's going to the finals.
Yeah, and I mean, then again, because this was originally supposed to be Timothy Thatcher, obviously.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So I don't know if he would have lost against Thatcher.
That's very possible.
I mean, he could have lost to Thatcher, but then again, he could have also beaten Thatcher to set up a tag title match. So I don't know. I mean, gun to my head, I'm saying the finals are still Go versus Kojima. But I think Go versus Nakajima is also an option, as well as Fujita making the finals and maybe even potentially winning the entire tournament. But gun to my head, I'm sticking with my prediction of Go versus Kojima in the finals and Go's winning.
Okay. And just a couple other quick Noah notes. It said October 30th show at Ariake Coliseum or Ariake Arena. I don't know what it's called now, the new one. It will have cheering and a Muto match. And
is it a Muto or Muta match?
Muto. I double checked last night. It's a Muto match.
Okay.
The September 3rd show is a Muta match, and then there's another match somewhere that's the final Muta. And then September 25th in Nagoya also has a Muto match.
Yeah.
Which is sort of Muto's goodbye to Nagoya.
So how many of the what was it? 6 matches?
Well,
does that bring us
5.
up to already. 5.
Well,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
was the original announced?
They had the match with Kaito. Are we counting the match in Dragon Gate?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 2. So that's 3 with the Ariake, 4 with the Nagoya, and then we already have 2. So I guess we're not
September
counting the Muta
3rd.
matches because there's already 2 announced Muta matches,
Yeah.
which technically already brings us over 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how many Muto farewell matches there actually are. And for our...
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm still not believing that he's actually retiring at the end of all of this. Like, he's gonna have a retirement match, but we actually
I will have to say
we
this
talked
about
about it before the show. The first Atsushi Onita retirement match happened in 1985, and he had a match at the beginning of this month.
Yeah, but
So that's all you need to know about Japanese retirements.
But I will give this, as much as we can all rag on Muto for many legitimate reasons, he must wrestle in a lot of fucking pain.
Yeah,
And he still
but he has for years at this point.
Because he, and in January or whenever, I think it was when he went out with the injury, he said I'm not going to listen to the doctors. I'm going to retire when I'm ready to retire or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's his mindset.
I mean, that could also be a thing where it's okay, I'm not going to listen to the doctors, but someone showed him the money that he could make on a retirement tour.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, really? Well, I guess I'm retiring.
And for our last topic today, we go to DDT with their Wrestle Peter Pan 2022 on August 20th at Oda City General Gymnasium. 1,250 fans, which is a no vacancy because they had this set up to allow cheering and there were streamers. So that certainly helped the show. But Paul, what were your overall thoughts on this show?
I actually was a little bit disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. Because I had kind of once it was oh, the show is gonna have cheering, I was like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. But I think just overall, DDT just feels a little bit cold at the moment. And to me, that kind of carried over to this show as well.
Yeah.
So I was I thought it was an okay show when it should have really been a great show to get DDT back on track. And I think there definitely were a couple of matches on the show that significantly underdelivered. But with one significant exception, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of the show, there was definitely stuff on there. I was oh, this is going to be good. And then it was just there.
Mm-hmm. So we start off with the opening match. Team of Burning, Yusuke Okada and Yuya Kuroku teamed with Illusion. They defeated Toi Kojima, Yuki Ishida, and Takeshi Masada in 9 minutes and 11 seconds when there was a modified stranglehold from Kuroku on Ishida. This is a pretty darn good opener. A great highlight of talent and Okada, shall we say. And Masada seems to be DDT's new super rookie, and he looked pretty good here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely seems like they have high hopes for Masada. So I have a feeling that he's probably, if he develops well, he's going to move up the card real quick. But yeah, as I said, this was a good show of talent, but every single time I was this is such an absolute waste of Okada. That's really the thing that bothered me about this match, where it was just he shouldn't be here. Should literally be anywhere else on the card.
Maybe he should be Takao
maybe
Mori's
with one
secret
exception,
partner.
but yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. You know what? If he just jumps back to All Japan as a Mori's secret partner and just wins the world title, the world tag team titles, I'm yeah, okay, sure. That's acceptable. I'll take that. But I have a feeling that won't happen.
I'm not going to spend much time on this match, but the next match was a 3-way 6-man tag match. Pheromones, Danshuko Dino, Yuki Ino, and now Koju Takeda They defeated Toru Owashi, Kazuki Harada, and Antonio Honda, and also the
I'm
team.
sorry, that is Koju Shining Ball Takeda.
Oh yes,
Thank you very
Koju
much.
Shining Ball Takeda defeated the team of Toru Owashi, Kazuki Harada, and Antonio Honda, and the team of Yuji Hino, Yukio Naya, and Super Sasadango Machine in 12 minutes and 18 seconds with a referee stop. Takeda got Harada in the Sexy Bay Bridge. I will say that there was some fun action at the beginning, and Super Sasadango Machine came out dressed up as Hino, which was sort of funny. But then it just degenerated into a pheromones match. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, it was a pheromones match. Like, I think we've talked about them plenty. I think neither of us is really like a big fan of their style.
No, but they got heat.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it was probably better than some other matches that they've had, but like overall.
Oh yeah,
like,
the three-way six-man format certainly helped at least like the first half of the match compared to your average pheromone match.
Yeah.
But
this also feels like a waste of Yuji Hino though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's sort of spinning his wheels too.
Yeah. And he's kind of missing from the Japanese indie scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess, obviously, he's probably paid better in DDT, but I would also just kind of, like, see him be back. And, like, I think he could help, like, promotions like Big Japan that need, like, all the help they can get at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. In the special six-man tag match, Hiroshima Yukio Sakaguchi and Hideki Okatani defeated Naomi Yoshimura, Kota Umeda, and the returning Keisuke Okuda in 12 minutes and 44 seconds, with the Somato from Hiroshima against Yoshimura, which also set up a tag title match later on that they're going to do on another show. I thought this was pretty good, and I really like the sequences between Okuda and Sakaguchi, who seem to want to kill each other.
Yeah, no, this was really solid. I don't really think this was all that much to write home about, to be quite honest. But it was good enough for what it was, and like pretty much everyone in here was like doing their best, but it also kind of felt like this was like a match they put together to like put all these 6 men on the card.
Yeah,
because they didn't really have anything else for them to do.
No.
Like, especially, like, it's a weird way to re-debut Okuda as well in the promotion after he's been, like, gone for a while. Like, as I said, like, had really good sequences with Sakaguchi, but he already feels lost in the shuffle, and he's had 1 match back.
Now, Okuda's still saying he's going to be concentrating on Ryzen. Is that just smokescreen to have a more graceful exit from Dragon Gate, or do you think that's actually going to be the case?
I mean, from what I've heard from his exit from Dragon Gate is that Dragon Gate didn't want him to do Ryzen anymore because he's not a good fighter.
Yeah.
He's just, yes, exactly.
What does Dragon Gate
getting knocked
care
the
about?
fuck out?
This is like what? Antonio Inoki's running Dragon Gate now? Like, what do they care if he's eating shit? You know, he's only...
Well, I mean, if your gimmick is that you're a tough guy shoot fighter and then you get knocked the fuck out all the goddamn time, that kind of hurts your gimmick.
I guess, but he was only at like Brave Gate level, and I don't know. But I get it. I mean, it can still just be a distraction in general, I suppose, because you're training and everything like that too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like you're in there like regularly and everything. So, I mean, if DDT is willing to like allow him to do that, to like have him get like, maybe you can eventually then transition him to like a comedy gimmick where he then also gets knocked out in DDT all the time. Because I don't like. I
Rocky
think in
Okuda?
his mind he is gonna like win his fights coming up, but like, I mean, let's be honest, he's not.
Yeah, and it's going to be Toru Owashi, I believe, teaming with Hiroshima, which is weird, but to take on Yoshimura and Higuchi. I guess Hiroshima needed a big boy to take on that team, which sort of makes sense, even though he's not that great, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then in the Shinichiro Kawamatsu debut match, Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly member versus Bunkayo Ward Assembly member. Osama Nishimura, Makoto Oishi, and Akito defeated Shinjiro Takagi, Soma Takao, and Shinichiro Kawamatsu in 14 minutes and 47 seconds, with Nishimura with a figure 4 lock on Kawamatsu. Paul, we've got our super rookie on our hands.
With Kawamatsu?
Yeah. And he did it wearing a suit.
Yeah, that's even more impressive. Like, you shouldn't be able to like move around that way. Well, I mean, unless you're low key. So, okay, here's the thing: who was a better wrestler in a suit? Low Key or Kawamatsu here?
I still got to go with low key, I think.
But he wasn't as far behind as you would have thought he was.
Oh,
like,
no.
He, really damn good.
He's really good, yeah. Like, this over-delivered, I think.
No, this was definitely one of the matches on the show. I was like, okay, this actually over-delivered my expectations. This was actually a ton of fun. Like, I really hope that this wasn't like a one-off, and like, obviously he's not gonna be like a regular wrestler or anything, but I do hope that they like bring him back, like at least for like a couple more like big shows or something like that. And it can only be a positive thing for them to like get bookings on buildings. So, you know, it's the same reason why All Japan put 2 titles on Toshizo.
Definitely probably one of the better celebrity matches that DDT has had in their history too.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
If you want to technically put this on the grand scheme of celebrity matches in all of wrestling, and start including your like Dennis Rodmans and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, he's definitely better than Rodman. He's definitely better than like 90% of the people that have wrestled on like WrestleMania and like celebrity matches.
He's not quite. Is it Logan or Paul?
Yes. What's up?
Is he better than Logan Paul, or is it the other? I can't remember which Paul's brother is which in WWE. But is he better than whatever Paul brother is in WWE? Probably not.
I don't know because I've never seen a single
I just seen him do like high flying stuff because I've never actually seen the matches. So I don't know. So we'll give him.
He's probably better than like Bad Bunny or whatever.
Yeah.
Is he better than Snooki?
Yes. I'm trying to think of other celebrities. He's already better than Mongo McMichael.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And Mongo is a full-time wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's way better than Mongo McMichaels already. He's better than Mr. T.
Yep.
So yeah, no. He definitely like. Do we know if he's done like any wrestling training before this? I don't mean like just for this match, but I mean like ever in like the past or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe he wanted to be a wrestler and then he got into politics instead or something. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously a huge fan.
Yeah, exactly. Like that one's very obvious because he just is like he very clearly is someone that like watches a lot of wrestling because he just got it basically. Like it's just instinctively he knew kind of what to do.
Mm-hmm. I would bring him back if I were Takagi.
Absolutely. I'm bringing this guy back and being like, I'm fucking whining and dining this guy and be like, oh, you want to go over maybe in your next match? And like, we can just like do some arrangements, right?
Can you adjust the fire code so I can put 3,000 people in Corrigan Hall?
Yeah. No, 3,500 people.
Yeah, 3,500. Yeah.
I love this. I love old-timey Japanese numbers. They're such nonsense.
Yeah. So next up, a special mixed tag match. Jun Akiyama and Saki Akai defeated Chris Brooks and Asuka in 15 minutes and 21 seconds with triangle choke from Akai on Asuka. And this is Akai's first victory over Asuka, which was sort of part of the story of this match. But the real story of this match was Jun Akiyama and Asuka. And I thought they actually worked quite well together. And I thought this was some of the best that Akiyama's looked in a while, too. I can't go like say this is like a great match, but this was still a ton of fun, I thought. And I thought the Akiyama and Asuka stuff delivered.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, not really surprised. I mean, Asuka is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. So she did really well here, and I was really happy to see her like face off with Jun Akiyama. It was really good. As I said, she's kind of had like a bit of a thing going with Saki Akai for a while now, and they've kind of paid that off here. So that was really fun. I thought Chris Brooks was just kind of there. Like, I think generally Chris Brooks is really good in DDT, but he just kind of felt like a complete afterthought in this match.
Yeah. People talking about, like, when they talk about Ospreay as, like, wrestler of the year, or at least most outstanding, they sort of list off the variety of matches. I think you can have, like, a conversation about Asuka as being one of the most outstanding wrestlers of the year, just based off of the variety of different types of opponents and matches that she's worked.
Promotions as well.
Yeah, promotions. Like, I know, like, she had an excellent match against Chihiro Hashimoto at the main event of the Korakuen Hall Sendai Girls show, which involved them just dropping each other on the heads. But it was awesome. and she's been all over the place in tons of different promotions. So I think you could actually make a case for her as like at least one of the most outstanding wrestlers in the world. Like you said, she's one of the best.
Yeah, I heard that she had like a really good run in like Eve as well in June. So yeah, like it's also like, yeah, exactly, like it's not just like the matches that she has in Japan, like she also has like really good matches like all around the world basically, like whenever she's like brought in anywhere she delivers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just hope maybe that like, I don't know, kind of would like to see her like settle down a little bit more, and like as much as I love her like going around, I would like to see her have like a bit more of like a continued run and like run promotion and actually have like a big title run and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think to some degree she's still somewhat missing that.
Yeah.
Right.
And Asuka has also seemed to have recently outed herself as a Joey Janela fan, but I will let that slide.
Yeah, I mean, no one's perfect, right?
Yeah. And then, speaking of Joey Janela.
Speaking of Joey Janela, yeah.
Next match. At some point after one of these matches, I think it was the 6-man politician match, they announced Cara Noir's coming in. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because he seems to have like I've never seen Cara Noir wrestle. I've heard people that love him and people that hate him. So very mixed. So Paul, what's your?
He has a really good entrance, but there isn't really that much there between the bell, to be honest. And he's also someone that has a tendency to be very over dramatic as well, like in that kind of late stage Johnny Gargano versus Ciampa way, where it's like you know, people make fun of like Johnny Gargano staring at his hands and being like, why am I so violent? But that's literally what Cara Noir does. Like,
why am I so mysterious?
Yeah, why but I could also see like Cara Noir having like a hardcore match and just staring at his hand, being like, oh, why am I, like literally saying, why am I so violent? Like as loud that also the rest of the crowd can hear him.
Now, do you think he'll get over in DDT?
His entrance is definitely going to get over. Like, I think especially the first time. Because it is genuinely impressive the first time you see it. Bell to bell? I don't know. I mean, one of the reasons why Chris Brooks got over is because he's willing to do all of the wacky stuff. And I don't know. Because Cara Noir, while he has kind of an outrageous gimmick and everything, has never really been a guy that has done much comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think like if he's willing to do that in DDT and if he fits in well, then maybe that's gonna help him. But like, for example, if he doesn't, then the only other thing he can do is like be in like the proper wrestler division basically, with like Yo Enos and Taguchis and Harashimas.
Yeah.
And he can't hang. He can't hang with those guys.
Yeah.
Like, unless he has just done like a massive improvement in like since like March, which was when I saw him in 16 carat. Like, because he wasn't that great in that one. And like, unless he's done like a massive improvement since then, like he can't hang with the top level guys in DDT.
Yeah.
So it really is up to him if he's willing to like adapt or like do a bit more comedy stuff. I think that can help him, and if he's not, then he's gonna pop, like people are gonna pop big for his entrance, and then I have a feeling it might be diminishing returns from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
because that's basically what's happened to him everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, we go to Extreme title. Joey Janela defeated Shunma Katsumata in 18 minutes and 56 seconds with a Death Valley driver on a barbed wire board for his first defense of the title, which he defeated Akito for in an Ippon light death match the week before. I have not seen that match. I heard it was obviously not as good as those past Ippon light death matches, though, which somehow doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't hate this. I mean, it had some stupid, ridiculous moves through barbed wire and all sorts of crazy spots, but at the end of the day, it's certainly not at the same level of many other sort of hardcore death matches that you can get in Japan or what even Shunma is capable of.
Yeah, that's the thing that always really bothers me about these like DDT Extreme title matches. They always feel kind of like half-assed compared to other death matches you get in Japan. So it just always feels like it's just missing that one extra step to get really violent. And I guess that makes sense because it's not really DDT style, but like, I don't know, it just always keeps holding these always keeps holding these matches back. So unless you have like, for example, like the stuff of like the one light tube gimmick, and there's like some interesting stuff that they've done with that in the past. Because that's also really like their specialty, like that's what they do. So that makes it feel unique, whereas just these like more like regular matches like this just always feel like they're missing something, and this was no exception really. This wasn't even the best match that I've seen like Joey have on this like DDT run, like because they actually had him have a brawling match with why am I blanking on the name, with the puppet?
Yoshihiko.
With Yoshihiko, where basically him and Yoshihiko went to a sauna and had a match around the sauna grounds, basically. That was also on their YouTube. And
okay,
like in terms of like kind of having like a fun DDT comedy match, that one actually was kind of good. But this was just, I don't know, like this was just like it was maybe like a little bit better than like, I don't know, your standard WWE style hardcore match, but it was definitely a step below what you would see in terms of like death matches elsewhere in Japan, or maybe even like what you would see on like a GCW show
or AEW.
Yeah, exactly.
Better,
yeah. So it was just missing something, and it was just like, eh.
Oh, it was certainly better than a lot of GCW stuff, though. Well, not all GCW stuff, but I mean, Shunma is better than a good number of deathmatch GCW wrestlers, except for like maybe like Aus Cologne or something.
Oh no, definitely. But I mean, it's not like Janela has really been working like a lot of death matches in GCW either. Like he's been more of like a straightforward wrestler in GCW.
Yeah. And then we had the Universal title. Yuki Ueno defeated Masahiro Takanashi in 14 minutes and 26 seconds with the WR. That was the failed second defense for Takanashi, and Ueno is now a two-time champion with the Universal title. This was sort of disappointing, I thought.
Yeah, I went into this having really high expectations. And when I really say like there was stuff on this show that under-delivered, this is the prime suspect. Like, there was just nothing really here. Like this is one of DDT's biggest show of the entire year, and it just didn't feel like that at all. Like it just felt like a random midweek Kurikan match basically.
And the WR got botched.
Yeah, that too. Like that really didn't help either.
No.
And no, I've definitely seen either man have better matches. I've seen either man have better matches with each other as well, which made it even more frustrating when it's like they get put in like a pretty big spot in one of the biggest shows of the year, and I feel it feels harsh to say they laid an egg, but given the expectations they did, like given what the actual floor should be between these two, because I don't feel it was a bad match, but like given what the actual floor for like an Ueno match with someone of like Takanashi's level is, I think this got really close to their floor, because it was just nothing really. Like there was no excitement, like didn't really feel like either man was super motivated either. Like it was just sloppy in like the worst way possible.
Yeah. But hopefully, I mean, Ueno got the title back, and hopefully, I mean, I think he can do something with it. I mean, he's incredible. So
no, he is.
So
but, I mean, as I said on the preview, like it just feels like he's kind of moving in circles.
Yeah. And then for the DDT 25th anniversary special 6-man tag match, Konosuke Takeshita, Mao, and Yasu Urano defeated Dick Togo, Daisuke Sasaki, and Cannon in 20 minutes and 41 seconds with a jumping knee from Takeshita on Cannon. I thought this was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as I expected. It was sort of almost disappointing, I wrote in my notes.
Yeah, no, this was another one that was like really disappointing, where I think that really hurt my like enjoyment of the show overall, that like especially what in theory should have been kind of the main part of the card, which really should have been the stuff that gets you really exciting. Like, so far, like, there wasn't really anything there. Like, this one as well, like, just didn't feel special to, like, I mean, it was the 25th anniversary, like, special for, like, DDT, and you had the big return of Takeshita after his massive
wearing AEW colors.
excursion. Yeah, exactly. And it just, and you had, like, the return of Dick Togo as well, who had been, like, a relatively big part of the promotion.
Yep.
And it just didn't feel special at all. I mean, ironic given that it says special in the title, but, like, it just didn't feel special. Like, it just felt like a normal run-of-the-mill 6-man tag match. Like, everyone got in and out, but just, yeah, I don't know. Just not special, I think, is the best way to sum it up.
Yeah,
just,
I don't know how
just
to...
a match.
Yeah, just a match. Though something that I thought delivered, KOD Openweight Championship, Kazusada Higuchi defeated Tetsuya Endo in 25 minutes and 24 seconds with a brain claw slam to make his first successful defense. It was the right booking call. I like this match a lot. You know, it was like Endo's speed and agility versus Higuchi's raw power. There were some great spots like the brain claw slam on the apron and everything like that. I think this mostly got positive reviews, although there was a vocal anti-Endo contingent that don't like him. I don't know. I don't quite get it, but sometimes I could sort of see it, but I mostly like Endo. And so I did believe this match really did deliver, and it was a strong first defense for Higuchi and set him up very strongly at the end of this show, whatever you want to say about the rest of it. And obviously set up for a Takeshita match on September 25th at Korakuen Hall.
Yeah, so right now this match actually stands at an 8.97 on Cage Match. I think that feels like a little high. Like, I didn't think it was that good. I thought I
would go a little below. I went like 4.25.
Yeah, like I would go like a little bit lower. I don't think this is gonna make like my match of the year list at the end of the year. But it was like a really good first defense for Higuchi. I think it was also an important defense for Higuchi, because we talked about it before, where like there's a bit of a danger where if he loses here, or if he doesn't look good in this match, that could be doing some long-term damage to him. And neither of those happened. Like, he looked strong coming out of this match, and Endo just sold his ass off. Like, now that the match happened, I'm also happy that they didn't put the title back on Endo. I think that's a much stronger story, that he actually needs to like work his way back up to the title. But like, yeah, he came back from the knockout and everything, and he challenged for the title immediately, but he lost, so now he needs to like rebuild, and I think that's a much more interesting story for Endo to go through. And I really hope that like they're gonna continue the Higuchi reign as well, because we'll see if that happens, because Takeshita challenged next, and that's another match I could see go either way. But if he actually beats both Kendo and Takeshita, like, then Higuchi is a main man, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Higuchi's winning because Takeshita is like, I'm going to go back to AEW in October and I want to go back as champion. He's not going to go back as champion.
No, like, they can't do that. Like, they lose their biggest draw and then they also lose their top championship. Like, that's just going to send their, like, numbers in a tailspin in terms of drawing.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But it'll be a big thing for Higuchi to win, I think.
But at that point, the pressure is on for Higuchi, right?
Oh, for sure.
He just beat the top two stars in the promotion, and then he needs to deliver.
I would assume, who else could credibly challenge him after that? Hiroshima
would be the next, but again, that might be almost one that you want to save for like a bit of a bigger show as well. Akiyama.
Oh no, they're tagging Akiyama
as one.
He beat him in the tournament though.
Ueno in theory is someone.
Well, he's the
but he has
universal...
he has the other title.
Daisuke Sasaki? I don't know.
In theory, I mean, he is a big enough star. I mean, it's not going to be a great match. Actually, you know what actually would be an interesting match? Eruption Explodes. You do Sakaguchi versus Higuchi.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely people that can challenge him. Like, you definitely have, like, a good number of challengers lined up for him until he, like, I don't know, loses it back to Endo eventually.
I could see that happening eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
But again, I think that also somewhat depends on, like, what he's drawing on top as champion.
Yeah, that would.
Like if he actually draws good numbers, then I think they're gonna like go a bit longer. So that's why I feel like they might do the Hiroshima title challenge eventually. And then depending on what Higuchi has been drawing, either they put it back on Hiroshima because they're panicking about attendances, or they keep it on Higuchi because he's actually been drawing well.
Yeah. And then, it was announced that Kid Lycos is coming in to team with Chris Brooks. Any thoughts on Lycos? He's another Euro wrestler I don't really know much about.
Yeah, he's fine, but he's really good when he teams with Brooks. I mean, this is very clear who brought him in here because they are literally best friends. Like, and I don't mean that in like the way of the like AEW like faction. Like they are literally like real life best friends.
Yeah.
So, but if his problem is that he's kind of made out of glass, so he's had to like significantly tone down his style to what he did. Like, so he doesn't really do all that much in the ring anymore. So, I mean, if we kind of get the kid like us that we got like earlier in his career with like the original CCK run with Chris Brooks, that could be a ton of fun, but I just don't know if his body's capable of doing that anymore. But I think in terms of style, he can definitely fit in pretty well in DDT. Like, because again, he's best friends with Chris Brooks. Like, they have a very similar mindset. So I think he can adapt very well to the DDT mindset. Okay,
well, that makes sense then, yeah. So we'll look for that because he's basically just teaming with Brooks. So they could probably do something and maybe get a tag title shot. Yeah. I guess any other final thoughts before we go, Paul?
Like I said, I'm kind of a little bit down on the Budokan show.
I guess I should say,
but, yeah. I
thought the cheering really did help that Peter Pan, because if there was no cheering in Peter Pan, it would have been even worse.
Oh no, this show, I would have been really down on the show if there had been no cheering here. But I also feel like it didn't help it as much as I thought it would.
No, but that's again, the feeling. But like, I feel like I would notice if it was gone though.
Yeah, and I mean, to me also the thing is like, well, yeah, just cheering is bad doesn't mean that people are just gonna cheer for anything.
No,
like they also need to be like
the cheering shows. You got to work harder now these days.
Yeah, exactly. Like you actually need to like put a good effort into actually get people to cheer. Like they're not just gonna cheer because they can cheer. Yeah. And I think that was very noticeable in the main event. Like the crowd was way more energized for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, actually, maybe one more thing as well is the commentary. Like, let's just briefly talk about the commentary.
Oh yeah.
It was not great, was it?
No, it was not.
Really badly missing Bali and Aki.
Yeah.
Or Chris Brooks.
Yeah. I guess Chris was too like high up on the card, so it just would have been awkward for him to do it.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that third person that they brought in was.
Yeah, me neither. So Cage Match has it as, so they have 2 English names on here. So I don't know if those were the people. Like they have 3 Japanese names and 2 English names. So like obviously Christelle Chiari was the woman on commentary, on the English commentary. Brian Burton Lewis.
Yeah, that was the new one.
Yeah.
And then they had that journalist too. Yeah. But he's Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Hiroshi Arai, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but they weren't very good. Like, I mean, it was definitely noticeable that like they didn't really have good chemistry, and I think they were kind of unsure who was playing which role, which didn't help either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but they're having Chris Brooks and Drew Parker do commentary for TJPW, and I wonder if they should just start bringing in Drew Parker to do commentary if he's any good.
I mean, maybe, yeah. That would be one option. I mean, there's another. I mean, it's such a shame that he just retired, because this feels like such a perfect spot for like someone like Lenny Leonard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But unfortunately, he's retired now. But yeah, I mean, if this is what you're giving us, and then you have like someone like Lenny out there, or I don't know, you could. I mean, it's a big show, so you could have maybe also borrowed, like, but then again, the Noah people had to do like a Noah show on the same day.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They have to be better.
I don't know if the Noah team will fit in calling DDT so well. Although,
probably not.
Although Fulton has had to put over some real whoppers in Noah at times, I must say.
I mean, let's just put it that way. The Noah team would have put that Eruption and Arashima match versus Okuda Umeda and Yoshimura. They would have put that match over huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else, I mean, it definitely would have put the main event over really well.
Yeah.
The pheromone, like, to be fair, I would be kind of curious just to see Stuart Fulton call a pheromones match. I do want to hear that at least once, because if he can actually make that work, he's an actual miracle worker.
Yeah.
But also, just that it's just literally, and like as well with Mark Pickering, that just seems like the exact opposite of what Mark Pickering wants for wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I feel like he would be miserable if he had to watch that.
All right. And so, yeah, final thoughts. I guess you were going to say you were down on Budokan.
Yeah, I'm a bit down on Budokan, but like I said, I'm going to enjoy the show. I am pretty high up, though. Like I said, I have some anxieties about what they're going to do for the N1, but I think overall I'm really excited about the last two shows and then the finals.
Yeah.
If they do the right thing, I think it can deliver really well. And then, because we know Ariarki has cheering, like whatever title match they're going to put on there is going to be huge.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Well, this time we are actually going to take a full, I think, 2-week break, because that will bring us back after the N1 finals on the 3rd. And we'll see what else has happened in the
And then we can preview the Budokan.
We can preview the Budokan. Hopefully we will find out who Takao Mori's partner is by then, and we can talk about that. And if there's any, because like there's at least 2 more matches coming at Budokan, so it's going to be a 12-match show at least.
Oh yeah, it's going to be long, and then there's also going to be all kinds of pomp and circumstances. And like I said, I do expect like Kawada and Kobashi. And
Kobashi shows up for the Champions Night shows, so he'll be there for sure.
Yeah.
I would expect the remaining Pillars and Tenryu, honestly.
Yeah, which is why Akiyama needs to be there.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest question mark would be Muto.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him. I would have him there at the very least. Like, I don't think he's going to have a match, but
no. Yeah, he can get in front of everyone else for the best camera shots.
Exactly. Which is what he's going to do. Like, he's just going to do his pose. And
did you ever see those pictures from Andy Wu's wedding?
I love them. It's like he literally showed up. Like, I'm
just
convinced,
to pose for photos.
I'm very much convinced he brought his own. He showed up there with his photographer, did the photo, and then immediately left.
Yep.
And you could just see the rest of the restaurant crew just stare at him and be like, this motherfucker.
Well, it's funny because Jake Lee was also there, and he just had this incredibly blank expression on his face.
Yeah, but can we really say that that's like, because that's also just Jake Lee normally.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right. For Paul Bosch, I'm Gerard Trolio, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.